Hi, my friends. Welcome to Inside the Minds of Authors. I'm DC Gomez, your host, and also an indie author. I'm thrilled you're joining me today for another fun interview with a passionate author. We're going to kick off this show with an exciting reading, so let's get started.
Hi, my name is Cris Burl, and I'm author of the series Musings of a Deranged Mom. They're basically anecdotes of my life raising a teenager and a toddler at the same time. And today, I'm going to read from my very, very first book, Musings of a Deranged Mom. And I'm going to read page 81, titled Vacation, What Vacation? What is the point of vacations when you have young children? A person can't exactly relax when she is chasing small children all over the beach, only to have to spend 20 minutes cleaning sand out of places that makes them howl with agony because you don't want sand in the car. Instead of vacations, they should call it birth control trips. Not only will it make you vow to never have kids again, it enlightens the younger generation on how hard and embarrassing parenting can be. A couple of years ago, I had finally gotten to the point where a vacation with my daughter, who was 9 at the time, was really fun. She was able to keep herself occupied, didn't need constant supervision, and we generally enjoyed spending time together. Disney World with 9-year-olds are the best. Nobody looked at me weird because I was screaming with Amelia as Belle passed by on the parade float. I'm the bigger Belle fan. Then I found out I was pregnant, and the idea of having fun on vacations had burst like an overly full balloon. Sure, when he was an infant, it was pretty easy. Emilio, Marky, and I flew to Chicago when he was just 3 months old to visit my parents. And except for that old bat sitting next to me with her judging eyes and constant complaints to the flight attendant because of my need to feed my newborn, we had a great time. Seriously, you don't want to watch me nurse. Turn away. Don't stare like I'm the cover of Playboy. It's not like my tatas were overly huge and Marky's gargantuan head covered everything better than any kind of blanket. Then there was the long flight to Idaho with a layover and everything. The flight was easy with the baby, tiring, but easy. Then vacationing on the beach with my extended family when Marky was 9 months old. We played past the baby and I had a great time because of all the help from my family. We were also close enough to home that if anything went awry, we could just drive home and cut the vacation short. I guess I had been spoiled by my family vacations. I had lots of help. And it just seemed like taking a vacation was relaxing and easy. And I don't know what possessed me to think camping with a 14-month-old was a good idea. I planned a Thanksgiving camping trip to dig for rocks and minerals in the wilds of Arkansas. My husband and daughter loved minerals and both collect all sorts of gemstones or rocks. I wanted to do something that I thought we'd all enjoy as a family, plus stay off the grid because, hello, Arkansas. We literally had no service through most of the state, and it was nice to disconnect from social media and the world. So we rented a camper, loaded the SUV with tons of useless crap that we thought we would need, loaded everybody up, and started on the 12-hour trek across the state line. The first problem with our trip was Marky can't be in the car quietly without Mickey Mouse on his DVD player. That means we were tortured with 12 hours of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, with the only respite being restaurant stops. I had never wanted to murder a rodent more. Did I mention we also have 2 dogs making the journey with us? So we had to stop every couple of hours to change Marky's diaper, walk and water dogs, clean up the junk from the back seat that was littered by Amelia and her friend. I must have been freaking nuts to think this was a superb idea. We finally get to the campsite, and I'm trying to keep Marky from wandering off, keep dogs close to me, and watch the excited preteens dance around the campsite, all while my husband is trying to set up the camper on his own. I imagine him using every single curse word combination he can come up with to describe his loving wife that had foisted a working vacation on him. It's also Thanksgiving week in Arkansas, so the weather has a chill in the air that is threatening the warmth of our camper. Our first night in the camper is not conducive for a good night's rest. With Marky all up all night because he's in a strange place, the girls fighting over their little bed because they keep crossing their invisible line that separates their space, and the dog's incessant need to constantly potty all night long. What the hell did I get my family into? We went to the diamond mine to search for the kids' college fund in the forms of slivers of minerals with no luck. I even got Marky to use the shovel and play in the dirt, but I hope he didn't swallow a diamond while I wasn't looking. James was sifting dirt in the ice-cold, muddy water, and the girls got bored and decided running wild in the woods was more entertaining than digging up pounds of dirt. I even did my wifely duty and brought James some hot soup and a sandwich midway through the day while he basically played in dirt. We found absolutely nothing, not even a Marky's diaper. The next day, we went to a quartz mining cavern to dig for different types of quartz crystals. The girls had a better time and they found several 5-gallon buckets full of crystals. I, of course, can't do major digging because Marky, and even had to try to have him take a nap while walking him in the stroller up and down the driveway. My legs were burning. He was exhausted from no sleep the night before, and I wanted to have a decent nap. I also had to keep the dogs on leash with fresh water and walk them around for potty breaks. Seriously, why was this a good idea? We finally headed back to the campsite and prepared for another freezing night. The camper was not well insulated because, well, we live in Texas, where November 9th usually get to a low of 60s. We shoved as many clothes and towels as we could in the ends of the camper to keep the icy wind out so we could sleep in some warmth. Marky is in my bed with me, sleeping on the chest. There's a dog on my feet. James is shivering next to the edge of the tarp where cold ass air is seeping in. And I'm wondering, what the hell was I thinking planning this vacation? We finally pack up and get on the road for home with exuberance. I can't wait to sleep in my bed alone without the baby kicking my privates every time he jerks in his slumber. The way home wasn't any better because we're traveling on a Sunday after Thanksgiving, that same Sunday that everybody else is headed home. Mickey Mouse accompanies the whines of 2 tired girls in the backseat, and I'm repeatedly banging my head on the car window because the ringing in my ears is preferable to the mouse who can't find the stupid triangle key. We have driven 14 hours and are 5 minutes from our home when the 2 girls in the backseat declare the need for the restroom now. They can't wait a second more, and they both are threatening accidents onto the car seats. I want to get home, and my car already smells like poop diaper, accompanied by the rich aroma of stale dog. What's a side of uric acid gonna harm? When my husband was swayed by the large tears and pleading from the backseat, he stopped at the gas station just minutes from the home. We finally get home and unload most of our luggage from the camper. Never again am I traveling with a toddler. Never again am I traveling with those kids. Marky didn't even sleep in his own bed last night because of the stress of our so-called vacation. I'm not traveling again, ever again, until he's at least 8. Oh, I'm planning a trip to Hawaii this fall. Marky will be too. And I'm experiencing a 12-hour plane ride. Please, someone shoot me, because apparently I can't learn.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inside the Minds of Authors. I am super thrilled you're joining us today because I have the talented Miss Cris. Hi, Madame. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I'm great. How are you?
I am feeling your pain in so many different levels. Oh, my God. I don't know if I'm supposed to cry. I wasn't sure if I should just hug you or just laugh. I'm like, that is miserable in so many different ways. Love the book. Let's jump in. Where did this idea come from? Tell us about that.
Okay, so Marky, my second born, he was, I don't want to say accident, but he was the accident. I was 35 when I found out I was pregnant and 36 when I had him. And it was called geriatric pregnancy. Let's just put that there. They called it a geriatric pregnancy. I have forgotten how to be a mom to a baby because my daughter was 10 when he was born, getting ready to turn 10. I'd forgotten all about diapers and tantrums and toddler woes and all that stuff. And the most important thing I forgot was postpartum depression. I had it bad. I guess I forgot that I suffered through depression with my daughter. And when I had my son, I was so excited. Oh, another baby in the house. How exciting. But then the postpartum depression had me spiraling again. The problem was my insurance this time around wasn't as good as my insurance the first time around. So finding a therapist that was really worth his salt was really, really hard, and found myself, I couldn't open up to anybody. And I was just spiraling. And one of my therapists gave me the idea, why don't you just start writing? When you're mad, write it down. When you're sad, when you're crying, write it down. When you're unbelievably stressed out, sit down, take a moment and write it down. In a moment of weakness, I let my husband read my journal. And he said, "You are freaking hilarious." I mean, he's like, "You have taken every single despair that you've felt, every single sadness, every single moment of anger, and you've turned it around and turned it into something funny." And he felt, and this is my husband, he's like, you need to go publish it. You need to write it down, share it, because I can guarantee you every single mom out there has had these moments of thought where you don't even want kids anymore. And, just to have someone share that same thought and feeling can be more supportive than anything else that you can imagine.
So for your husband to say that, because he's been living this with you, so he has seen it from a different perspective from the other
Mhm.
side and said, this is so good and so relatable. It's such a huge epiphany. Like that is such a grace right there.
Right. And I gotta say, my husband has been my rock through everything. Like, he's the one that noticed when I wasn't feeling myself. And he's the one that said, "Okay, let's go get help." He's the one that said, "Why don't you go take a nap and I'll go do the dishes for you?" He's the one that said, "Let me get up and I'll go feed the baby while you take a nap," even though the baby didn't want to have anything to do with him, because that's boys. Boys want their mama more than anything. So, my husband's been my rock. He's been my sole support. And when he said, do something about it, I was like, okay, well, how do I do it? That was like, how do you do that? How do you get up and say, you know what? I'm going to publish my book. How do you do that? So I actually had a friend of mine that was an author, and I asked her how she did it. And she gave me step by step. She showed me how to do it. She showed me who to contact to do cover art and everything else. And the next thing I know, I was like, the book came in the mail and I just started screaming at the top of my lungs. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a published author. This is it.
So tell me, because this book is so relatable and so hysterical. Because I'm telling you, you had me cringing. I was like, you did what? In a car? You going to Hawaii? Like you had me on edge because I couldn't figure it out. I was like, oh my God, that sounds murderous in so many different ways. And yet it was so authentic. When you've been talking to people, because you have been to conventions, we had the honor to meet you this year in Houston. How has been that response from people?
I feel like people find it not just relatable, but funny. It's like almost like people are like listening to my stories and go, what was she thinking? And at the moment, I can tell you 99% of the time, I wasn't thinking. I was just like, oh, that sounds fun. Let's do that. I don't think about what could happen. I just dive in head first. And if I crack my head, I crack my head. If I swim for sure, I swim for sure. And I just deal with the aftermaths later.
You know, that is a brave way of living your life. And it's also so freeing. I love the fact that you wanted to give your family something that you all could connect. But the fact that you took a friend with you was more insane. It's like, wait, you have another kid on top of this?
Well,
Like,
honestly, here's the thing is I didn't want to have to entertain my daughter. I did. Have you ever had to sit in a car ride or go on vacation with a 9, 10-year-old girl, 11-year-old girl? They just sit there and talk in your ear the whole entire time about life, about middle school, about their friends, and they gossip and they don't stop talking. I did not want to have to entertain her.
once you put that into perspective, it all comes back to me. I keep telling people in my other life, I used to be a youth minister, so I know exactly what that means.
It's like now we're planning a trip to Colorado this summer, and I can't find a friend to go with her, and I can already feel my ears beginning to bleed. Like, I need to find someone. I won't find anybody, somebody who's her age.
That is such a huge tip for anybody listening. You're taking a road trip with a preteen teenager, definitely bring a friend because you're going to need it.
Yes, yes. And it's like literally, you literally do not have to do anything. Like, and then when they want to wander off and do their own thing, it's like you're not having to be on top of them, worried about what's going to happen. They're like packs, like wolf packs, they just travel together. They go to the bathroom together, they go everywhere together. So it's like I don't have to worry about, the creep over there. I got those girls just hanging out together, and nobody wants to go up to a pack of girls. It's scary.
That's actually the best way to put it. It is highly scary and traumatizing. You're like, yes, this could be dangerous.
Yes.
So you put the first book together, came out, you were
Mhm.
excited. You did two more books. Tell us about that.
What
Okay.
happened?
So I did Musings of a Deranged Mom, the first one, and I thought I was done. I really did. I thought, okay, I feel better. I'm done. But then I stopped writing. And when I stopped writing, that depression came back. I don't know what happened. I don't know if writing is my therapy, but when I stopped and took a step back and just tried to focus on life, the depression came back. And so I'm like, okay, well, I guess I need to keep writing. I'm never going to be able to stop journaling, I don't think. But the second book it's still funny. It still has that funny tendencies. But in the second book, it's called Musings of a Deranged Mom, Toilet Troubles. And it's called that because my life is literally going down the shitter. My husband and I started having a rocky moment in our marriage. My daughter turned 13.
Ooh.
The boy was terrible twos, going on threes. And there was moments where I did not want to be in my life anymore. I just didn't want to be there. I checked out. And so I was like, okay. And I felt that I needed to get back into journaling. And so when I did, I came up with Toilet Troubles. And it's actually my dad this time that told me. He read it. And he told me, he's like, this is another thing that you have to publish because all those moms out there where their husbands and them are fighting all the time. They're fighting over money. They're fighting over life. They're fighting over, in this book, my husband had a severe injury and had to have surgery done. Not only am I taking care of my daughter, not only am I taking care of a son, I'm having to literally physically take care of my husband. And that kind of stress it really was too heavy on my shoulders. And there were moments in there where, I don't want to say we were headed for divorce, but we were definitely on a rocky road. Me writing about it and trying to put a little bit of a funny spin on it actually made me look at my life a little different. And so instead of looking at my life thinking everything is going wrong, I was looking at my life thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened, and laughing at myself.
You talked about writing being your therapy, and a lot of people never think about it that way, how releasing it is, the power to put it for words. But I love the fact that you took it one step farther and you tried to make it funny and then it changed your perspective. So for anybody who's trying to journal, what would you tell them? How would they start?
I would say you just start writing stuff. I mean, you don't even have to start. One of my chapters, I just start talking about, oh my gosh, I hate this. I hate my life. Literally, one of my chapters starts off with that. I hate my life. And that's in the first book, where Marky was in that stage where he didn't sleep at all during the night. And he didn't sleep at all during the day. And he just was colicky and screaming and wanted nobody but me. He wouldn't let anyone comfort him but me. And I was just laying there listening to him scream in his crib. And I'm laying on the floor of his bedroom and I'm crying and saying, I hate my life. And that's how I started it. Sitting there and making a list of all the reasons why I hate my life. And then I look at the list and go, you know what? That's not a reason to hate my life. How many people out there don't even have a baby to scream that they want one? How many people out there would just love to hear their baby cry one more time, but they lost their baby? How many people out there even have a floor to lay on? Sitting there saying how much I hate my life. How many people out there would love my life? When I start writing, you just start. That's all I can say. You just sit there and you stick a pen and paper and you just start listing things and writing. That's all I have to say is if you don't know how to start, then just start doodling. I mean, even doodling and just start talking about your house, looking around. Oh, look, there's the couch. Oh, look, there's a chair. Oh, look at the mess. Oh, dear Lord. And the next thing you know, you're just going to start listing everything and start writing. And it doesn't have to be funny. It doesn't have to have a rhyme or a reason, but just putting your thoughts down on paper is so therapeutic, especially when you have anxiety and you have trouble talking and opening up to people. All you're doing is putting color onto a blank piece of paper and your thoughts just come out. And that is more therapeutic than anything I could ever imagine.
You have me ready to start crying because you touch on something that we tend to forget. We look at our circumstances, we look at the here and now. But when you take a step back and you realize, like you said, how many people would love to have a baby crying but can't? It tends to give you that perspective and kind of that peace of mind that everything's not as bad as it seems and I'm going to be okay. So I absolutely love it, Madame. So your journey has taken you to book 1. You went back and did 2. What made you decide to publish 3? And what is it about?
Okay, so after book 2, my husband said, You need to find something with your life. Go back to work. Go do something. So I decided to stop my stay-at-home mom journey, which is the hardest job ever, is being a stay-at-home mom. And I went back to work, and I work at a school, actually. I'm a preschool teacher. Everything was going great. I loved my job. I was so happy, so happy. I found no reason to be upset at all. Marky was going to school during the day. I didn't have to be with him 24/7. He had friends, and he could, get all that energy out and come home and eat dinner and just be relaxed. And things were just going great. And then the country shut down, and I was furloughed, and I'm stuck at home with a 13-year-old daughter who is now out of school and homeschooling. I'm stuck at home with a 3-year-old who is driving me up the wall because he can't go anywhere. We can't go to the baby gym. We can't go to the park. They shut down the parks in our area. The only place we could go was outside in our front yard, and that was it. I just found myself sitting around going, how am I supposed to do this? And I don't know how many parents out there have gone from stay-at-home mom to working mom to back to stay-at-home mom. They threw me for a loop. It really did. It was like I forgot how to do this. It's called Musings of a Deranged Mom. Drunk Moms Tell Tall Tales. It got to where I was just really enjoying my glass of wine every night. And I got to the point of parenting where, so you fell down. Okay. Or is there blood? No. All right, keep going. Oh, so there's crayon on the wall. I can paint it. Oh, look, there's permanent marker on the chair. Okay. I'll replace it when you're 20. So I got to the point where I didn't care. I was no longer stressed out over everything a 3-year-old and a 13-year-old did. It was at that point where, things can get replaced. Go outside to play, don't come back in until the dusk hits. Go enjoy yourself. And I got to where I don't want to say that I don't care what happened, but the little things didn't get to me anymore. Whereas before it did. The little things. Marky would draw on the wall and I would flip out. There's a chapter in the first book where he literally dug his way out of his crib through the wall. He Shawshanked Redemption his way out of his room. And there's a hole in the wall. Yes. And so after that.
Okay. Hold on. Let's back this. You can't just drop that on me. It's just like, it was just going to pass. No. Back it up. We're talking about a 3-year-old.
Yes.
How did your 3-year-old do that? Granted, they have nothing else but time to plot, but.
Right. And he's a plotter. No, he saw a little dent, probably from moving cribs around, and he was in his crib. And it was probably one of those sleepless nights that he had that he doesn't sleep. And I was probably asleep in a room and I didn't even wake up to it. And he just started scratching the wall, scratch. And then started pulling more drywall out, pull. And he's very, very small for his age. He's 4 years old and he still wears 2T, 3T clothes. He's very, very tiny. So as a baby, he was still tiny. So he was able to reach his hand through the crib to the wall and just scratch. So when I woke up the next morning, there was a fist-size hole in my wall. So I was like, okay, well, let me move the crib away from the wall. And then he did it on the other side. And it didn't fathom to me to put the crib in the middle of the room. Because, that really messed up the feng shui. You can't have a crib in the middle of the room. That just makes everything look wrong. So I moved the crib from one side of the wall to the other side of the wall. And now I have 2 holes in my wall. I was like, son of a. At the time when that happened, I freaked out. Oh, the holes in the wall. There's holes in the wall. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? By the 3rd book hit, I was like, oh, there's a hole in the wall. All right, I'll speckle it tomorrow. Just get to that point in their age, you start freaking out and then you realize you're giving yourself gray hair. You're just making so many things bigger than what they need to be, and just step back and be like, I can replace that. The lack of reaction I've discovered makes the 3-year-old not want to do so many horrible things. Now he doesn't get a reaction out of mommies. My leather chairs, permanent marker all over. My husband wants to replace it and I'm like, he's 4. Can we wait another year or 2 or 5, 10? When the kids are gone in college, let's replace the chairs.
Let's save ourselves some headaches. Let's just wait a tad bit.
which the permanent marker is totally husband's fault because he leaves stuff down.
Oh,
He doesn't clean up.
and forgets there's a 4-year-old.
Yeah. And when mommy goes on break and mommy goes on strike and doesn't clean up your stuff, guess what happens? The 4-year-old colors all over your leather couch. Oh, whatever are we going to do?
I'm glad you're not stressing about it. Like,
No, like the back of the wine helps.
wine saves a lot of issues sometimes. I will have to agree with you.
Yes.
So I have to ask, because obviously I'm extremely curious about this. Are you working on a 4th book?
Yes, I am.
Awesome. Can you tell us about it, or is this going to be a surprise? I'm good either way.
Well, and then all my books are just anecdotes of my life. That's all it is. There's no rhyme or reason. The great thing, I think, and this was what a lot of people have told me, is that you can literally put the book down and then pick it up a week later and not be lost because there's no storyline. It's like reading someone's journal. It's like, sitting around with a cup of coffee at a breakfast nook and you guys telling each other's about your lives. That's all it is. And you're just reading a lot about my life. This one is a little bit less stressful and a little bit more, I don't want to say funny, but just relaxing. There's going to be an interesting one in there about arrow gardens. Have you ever seen an arrow garden?
Mm-hmm.
I'd never seen one before, ever. And I ordered one for myself because my husband forgot my Mother's Day gift. So I ordered myself an arrow garden. I set it up, plugged it in, and oh my gosh, my retinas burned out of my eyes. It was so bright. I equate it to like Christmas Story, where Chevy Chase plugs that, reindeer in, and all of a sudden the meters are going crazy and the lights are on, the neighbors are blinded. And that's what happened. I normally have a very, very dark house because I'm like the vampire of the house. I'm like, no sunlight, no light, turn it all off. And I plug in this arrow garden and my hair lightened up. So now we're fighting over the arrow garden because I'm like, well, we got to keep it on. Because if you don't keep it on, the plants don't grow. Well, no, my husband's like, no, you got to turn it off. No one can sleep at night because that light is so bright. No one can sleep at night. Well, no, they got to grow because in Alaska, it's daylight 24/7 all summer long. And have you seen those vegetables? I want big veggies. No, you got to turn it off. We don't need big veggies. We do need big veggies. So we're just it's a back and forth that we're fighting over this arrow garden for the last month since Mother's Day.
Oh my God. I'm actually speechless. I'm going, I feel like your husband. I was like, we should turn that thing on so you can sleep. But at the same time, I was like, I do want big veggies. I don't know which one's going to win. Like, I was like, that's a tough one. Like,
I want big veggies. Like, if you want big veggies, you got to have it on 24/7.
I was like, which one wins? How much do I want sleep? Or how much do I want veggies? Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
That's a tough one. I don't know what to tell you. I can understand the pain from both sides enough to be like, I don't know which way I will go. That's a good one.
Yeah. A lot of people feel sorry for my husband because of my shenanigans. And I'm like, you know what? You knew all about me before you married me. You got yourself into this mess. There's no getting yourself out. You're stuck with me.
He did have warning. Well, when you say it that way, I'm sure he's worried. Pretty sure he didn't think about it until you put it in that perspective. It's like, he might be questioning it now. It's like, wait a minute, what did I just do? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm a hot mess and a half.
Mess and a half. That is an awesome quote. Have you considered ever doing novels? Is that something you consider, or would you stick with this very memoirs, anecdotes kind of world?
I've dabbled in novels. So I wrote a contemporary romance, Grooming Her Desire. Very Harlequin-like book, I felt like, but I constantly keep putting myself in the book. So whereas like I'm trying to write about this very stoic, beautiful woman, and I keep putting this crazy hot mess psycho mom in the book. And I'm like, this is not working for me. I don't know what to do. So I went ahead and published it anyway. I put myself in, but I'm like the side character, maybe, I think.
So basically, there's a lot of comic relief in this book, is what you're telling us.
Maybe.
Okay. We'll put some question marks like, how much romance did you put in the book? Is there a lot of romance?
There's a lot of romance, a lot of, some dirty deeds going on in there. So There's moments where it's a comic relief as well.
Did you enjoy the journey of writing the romance more than you enjoy your regular books? Which ones do you prefer? Let's be honest about this.
I prefer my regular books. I really do. Because I can still go back and laugh at them. I really do. I'll go back and read some of my books and be like, why did I do that? What was I thinking? Why did I let my daughter do that? Now I know never to let my daughter microwave chocolate ever again.
Well, I want to ask. That's the question.
Yeah. She found a recipe online about creating her very own chocolate bar by combining 2 different chocolate bars and microwaving them. Well, the online recipe, I guess there was a glitch and it told her 4 minutes. So she followed directions and microwaved chocolate for 4 minutes. Do you know what happens when you microwave chocolate for 4 minutes? I can't get the smells out of my house. It still smells like burnt chocolate. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really?
It stinks. It stinks. Horrible. We had to replace the microwave. Like the fire alarm went off, the smoke alarm went off, and it doesn't smell like smoke. When you burn chocolate, that's not a smoky smell. It's almost in a sweet rot smell. It's really, really gross.
You do know you have completely terrified me of any possibility of putting chocolate in the microwave ever. I'm like,
No.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Usually when you cook chocolate in the microwave, you cook it for 10-second intervals.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she did it for 4 minutes and then walked away.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
God help us. Okay. I understand. Lesson learned. Don't do that again. So tell us I can talk to you forever. I always have so much fun and you have all this energy and so much passion for everything. Where can our listeners find you? Let's talk about you. Where can they find the books?
Well, they're available on Amazon. All of the books, even the romance, Grooming Her Desire, it's all on Amazon under Cris Burl. I also have a website, www.crisburl.com. The website gives all my information as far as what signings I'm going to do. I'm coming to San Antonio in October. I'm trying to come to the one in Dallas. I'm still waiting to hear back from them. I really want to do that one in Dallas. But the website gives you all the details as far as where I'm going to be. And then it tells you all the books that I have. And there's links on the website as well. So if you see a book that you like on the website, you click the link, it'll take you straight to Amazon.
Awesome. I am excited. I'm glad that you're doing events. I'm also excited that you're still working on a new book. That is always so much fun. So we're going to switch gears before you leave us for the day. And we're going to do what is called the lightning round.
Oh, boy.
I know, easy peasy. Don't think too hard on this. We're going to have some fun. Are you ready, madam?
Sure.
See what comes to your mind. Water or soda?
Water.
I honestly should have put wine in there. Let's be honest about this.
If you put wine in there, I would have said wine.
That should have. I'm like, I need to change that question. Here's the next one. Spicy or sweet?
Sweet.
Nice. Beach or lake?
Beach. 100% ocean.
Here's a little different one. Let's see how you're doing. If you could meet any person, dead or alive, who would you meet?
Christine Feehan.
Why?
I have been reading her since she first began writing. Like I was a teenager and I've been reading her ever since. She was one of my first romance novels. I'm at the keyboard waiting for her books to come out and I click and I read in like 2 hours. Like the whole world will go by. I will lock myself in the bathroom and I'll just read her books. And she's the one person that if I had any chance to meet ever, I would not only meet her, but possibly start stalking her. It would not be pretty. I'd have restraining orders against me. It would get ugly. It would get ugly. I fangirl crush over her so much.
I'm worried about the stalking department, but other than that, love it. We're not going to tell her that. She's going to pass in that category.
Yeah.
Here's your last one. Let's see how you do. If your life could be turned into a movie, who would you have to play you?
Ooh, Reese Witherspoon.
Ooh, that would be awesome.
She's just so bubbly and funny. And I feel like she would do me justice, I think. Not to mention she's so much prettier and skinnier than I could ever be. She would make me look awesome.
You both have the same charismatic personality. Absolutely. She can bring you to life. But do you have any closing remarks for us? Anything you would like to tell our listeners?
I just want to say, no matter what, just don't stop doing what you're doing. Like if you want to start writing, start writing. I've only been doing it for like 2 years and I do it for me. I don't do it for anybody else. I don't do it for anything else. I do it for me because it makes me happy. Find what makes you happy and grab on with both hands and never let go.
Ooh, that is such a beautiful advice. And listeners, remember that and take a hold of that. Absolutely. Miss Cris, it's such a pleasure to have you. It's so exciting to have you here. To our listeners, thank you so much for joining us. It has been so much fun.
Thank you for having me. I love talking with you. You're a hoot.
It's so much fun. To our listeners, go ahead, start writing your memoir, start publishing. And remember, give this episode a like, share it with somebody, give us a review, tell everybody. We always grow together. And remember, next week we'll be back with another exciting author. Thank you, guys.
Bye.